I'd like to call this meeting to order. Taft City Council's successor agency joint regular meeting for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2015 here at City Hall. As a courtesy, would you please check your cell phones and put them on vibrate or mute? I'd like to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Hill, if she would lead us in that, and invocation will be by Bob Jordan. Please rise.
And salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, as we're gathered here tonight, we'd like to thank you for this great nation, this great state, the county of Kern, and this town that we all love and we work in. We pray, Father God, that all of our officials, appointed and elected, will stop and listen to your heart and vote the way they should vote. In the name and through the power of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Councilman Hill, thank you. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem North.
Here.
Councilmember Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
Councilmember Hill. Here. And Mayor Miller.
Here. First item on the agenda is a notice of a continuance of a public hearing. Zoning Ordinance Amendment 2014-13, Emergency Shelters, Transitional and Supportive Housing. Mr. Jones.
I don't have anything. Continuance.
Oh, so we're going to continue
The prior meeting, yes, on the prior council meeting.
So, open the public hearing.
Open it up.
I'd like to open this public hearing. Is there anybody who wish to come forward and speak on behalf of this transitional emergency shelter ordinance? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and we will, now what?
Continue the matter until the next regular meeting.
It's not written down, so I don't know what to do.
Continue the matter until the next regular meeting.
Okay, we're going to continue the matter till the next regular council meeting. Item number 2 is a proclamation of the Kiwanis Club of Taft. And seeing I'm a long-standing Kiwanian, I'm going to read this. The Kiwanis Club of Taft celebrates its 90th birthday, whereas on January 21st, 2015, the very first Kiwanis Club located in Detroit, Michigan, received its charter, and in 1920, the club adopted their first motto, "We Build." In 2005, during the 90th anniversary year of Kiwanis, a new motto was adopted, "Serving Children of the World." And whereas in 1916, the Kiwanis Club went international with the chartering of the Kiwanis Club of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. In January 1925, the Kiwanis Club of Taft was chartered, and in 1987, Cindy Champer became the first woman Kiwanis member. And we're at, not here, somewhere else, but whereas Kiwanis is a worldwide service organization of men and women, having more than 8,400 clubs in 96 nations and with about 606,000 active members. Kiwanis Clubs takes on humanitarian and civic projects focusing on the special needs of their communities, such as helping the elderly, promoting literacy, and supporting youth activities. And whereas Taft Kiwanis are known for their patriotism, placing American flags around town on holidays as one of their fundraisers, while also taking on an active part in the community, sponsoring the local Circle K and Key Club, as well as being a major sponsor of the Little League, recently donating a scoreboard to the facility. And whereas Kiwanians have always been very active in the community, as a club and as individuals, having had numerous members serve on the city council and other city officials, the current city manager, the current and former police chief, and the last 2 seated mayors were members of the Kiwanis Club. Now therefore, the Taft City Council takes great pleasure in recognizing Kiwanis' international celebration of 100 years of service and the 90th birthday of the Kiwanis Club of Taft. We hereby commend the members who have taken part in this great club over the last 100 years and wish them continued success. Dated this 3rd day of March, 2015, signed by myself and all 4 council members. Do we have somebody willing to accept this? Is Rodney here? Oh, our president.
All right, we need to vacate, huh?
This is Lieutenant Governor Greg Mudge, our president, Rodney Wyckoff. We're gonna do the chair shuffle. Come on in. Rotarian's gotta get in this picture here.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at him and smile. All right. With a speech. Wait a minute.
Well, before all the Kiwanians leave. Yeah, we're getting ready to pass the fine bucket. On behalf of the Kiwanis Club of Taft, I would just like to thank the council for the recognition. Thank you to the city of Taft for such kind words, and we appreciate this honor that's been given to us. And we just look forward to continuing years of service to this community. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Roger.
You know, it's a privilege to serve with the Kiwanis group here in Taft, which now is the oldest Kiwanis club in Division 33 in Kern County of 90 years. And it's really a statement of the fine people in our community and their commitment to serving children. And we will continue to do that for the next 100 years.
Thank you, Greg. All right. Next up is citizen request for public comments. This is a time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit comments to 5 minutes. First up is Club Live of Lincoln Junior High. They're in the back of the room and they're making their way forward. Do we have a spokesperson? Oh, okay. Well, when you come up to speak, would you introduce yourselves, please?
Hello, my name is Katie DeRevere, and we're from Lincoln Junior High. We're the Club Live officers. We're really happy to be speaking here today. Thank you for letting us come here. Now, please direct your attention to Brenna Creswell. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So would you introduce yourself, please?
Okay. I'm Brenna Criswell, and I'm here to talk to you about our problem. Our problem is that the tot lot law is not being properly enforced at our local parks. The parks that we have been to collect the cigarette butts are A Street Park, Veterans Park, and Ford City Park. At A Street Park, we picked up a total of 406 cigarette butts. At Veterans Park, we picked up a total of 662 cigarette butts. At Ford City Park, we picked up a total of 539 cigarette butts. And please take into consideration that at all of these parks, we also picked up alcohol items and drug items.
Wow.
The grand total of cigarette butts that we picked up is 1,607 cigarette butts. Now, if you will please direct your attention to Taylor Brown.
Okay.
I'm Taylor Brown, and the reason why we are here is to show you why we need to enforce the Tot Lot Law. The Tot Lot Law states, no person shall smoke a cigarette, cigar, or other tobacco-related products within 25 feet of any playground. Most cigarette butts that we found were found in the playground area and are hazardous to animals and small children. Now please direct your attention to Jasmine Williams.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jasmine Williams, and I'm here to explain a solution. Our solution to this problem is to put up signs in front of the playgrounds about the Tot Lot Law. This would help enforce them to understand that it is a tobacco-free play zone. We would also like to have at least one receptacle by each park. This is an example of a receptacle. And since also in A Street Park, we had seen that they had tried to dispose of their cigarette butts safely by putting them in the barbecue. So I understand that if we had a receptacle in the park, it would be well used. So I'd like to direct your attention to McKinley Westcott.
We are basically concerned about
Can you
health.
introduce yourself, please?
I'm McKinley Westcott, and
Okay.
I'd like to talk about what we're concerned about. We're basically concerned about the health and children. How would you like it if your children was the one picking it up and eating the cigarette butt?
Not good.
We'd like to thank you for your time and letting us speak here today. We really appreciate it if you would think about if what you would feel like if your child or your grandchild or a little child you knew went to a park and picked up a cigarette butt and started to put it in its mouth or eat it. Like, just how would you feel if that happened? Thank you for your time. Do you have any more questions about this subject?
Lady, what time period did you do this within, and you got all these cigarette butts?
It was in an hour or so at each park, under an hour.
Wow.
And most of the cigarette butts we found, they were at the actual playground where the kids play. And if most of the kids could have picked those up, like we don't know how many kids could have eaten them or put them in their mouth, not knowing what they were.
So is this a project that you girls are going to continue with, or
Yeah.
And we need to get the word out, and you might want to make a presentation to the West Side Recreation Park District too, and let them know what you're doing. It's very admirable what you're doing, and it's really terrible that smokers can't dispose of their cigarette butts in a reasonable manner. But if you have something like that out there, maybe that would attract them to it, to where they can finish up and throw it away. So it's cool.
Hopefully. That's what we're hoping would happen.
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. We really, really appreciate it. And you made an awareness that none of us really think about, but unfortunately cigarette butts are everywhere.
If those are butts, you can keep mine.
I just filled out my 700 form.
Oh, guys, every morning
It's Mitch, tobacco-free playgrounds. Amen.
comes and collects cigarette butts and smokes. Unbelievable.
Very nice. Thank you so much. It is a problem, and we're glad they're taken care of. And thanks so much about living in Taft and taking care of Taft and just residing here and ignoring the problem. So good for those girls. Next up is Dr. Kathy Oren with the Chamber.
Well, it's a tough act to follow. I just want to remind you and everyone here that tomorrow morning our sit and sip will be held at Pake's Restaurant at the corner of 3rd and Kern Street, and it is a meeting of, help me Craig,
The unmet needs hearing for the Taft area transit.
Unmet needs hearing for the Taft area transit. I spoke to a couple folks on the phone today that had called when they saw it in our newsletter and asked, well, I don't really take the transit, so I don't think I'm going to come. And based upon my dealings with the transit folks, your opinions matter. And excuse me, you may not take the transit, but you will be surprised at how much you know or do not know about the transit and its availability in our community. All the opinions of the folks are important, so I would encourage people to come. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Warren. Next up, Eric Cooper with the West Side Healthcare District.
Mayor Miller. Mayor Pro Tem Noor.
Eric.
New council members Hill and Bryant, welcome, and Orchel Cryer. I'm Eric Cooper, 119 Atkinson Way. I'm the current president of the West Side Healthcare District, and I have brought my board along tonight, which I would like you all to, let you say hello to. And starting here with our vice president, we have Terry Jordan, and she's been on the board since 2005. I also have Jeannie Miller, board member. She's been on the board since 2011. Adele Ward, fairly new on the board at 2014. And our newest board member, Ray Hatch. In addition, we have Robin Melton, our office administrator, and she's been around a long time, and 2008. And also...
How long have you been on the board?
I've been on the board since you talked me to get on the board about...
20 plus years
yeah,
ago.
a while back. Donna Warnock, our clinic administrator, is having some family issues tonight. She couldn't be here, but this is the Healthcare District Board. And one of the main reasons we're here tonight is to let you say hi to our board, but we also would like to introduce our new executive director, Jerry Starr. And he's here standing with us as well. He's starting this week, and we finally have an executive director. We're very excited about now some of the directions and some of the actions we can finally put into play here. We've been kind of a board without a captain for several years, and so this is a major step. We're very excited to have him on board, and if it pleases the board, I'd like him just to say hi and tell you just a little bit about himself, if that's okay.
Yes,
So we'll
please.
move over.
Thank you, Eric. Indeed, it is a privilege to address the council through the mayor, Mr. Miller. This has been a unique experience for me in the last 30 days to become associated with the city of Taft, with the West Side Healthcare District. I have to think about a beginning. In 1982, I was hired by the board of Bakersfield Community Hospital, loyal members of the Service Club of Kiwanis.
All right.
I think maybe that has something to do with the board here also, and certainly the community of Taft, an astounding legacy of service. I've had the opportunity to see a lot of documents. I've seen the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis done by this group. I notice that there's a comment that healthcare availability is a weakness. I also note that healthcare in the future is an opportunity, and that's what we're here to work on, is the opportunity to increase the healthcare services for the West Side Healthcare District, and I am very privileged at this point in my career to be part of that. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the board. The real unsung heroes in this community is this board of directors for this healthcare district, providing the best health care that we can, and we're looking for more in the future. And Mr. Starr, we're looking for you, towards you, to lead us in that direction.
Thank you, sir. I have worked directly for the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern. I have worked directly for the District Board of Tulare District Hospital and Sierra Kings District Hospital in Reedley. This, by far, is the most powerful, dedicated, non-political board focused on mission that I've ever seen.
Yeah, good.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. And one board member I'll be seeing a little later tonight, so.
Don't get your hopes up.
Trying to say I'm a Kiwanian since 1998. 1979. Thank you, Eric. That was great. So I can remember when I was on the Healthcare District Board, when the hospital got sold, all the records were in the trunk of my car for a couple of years. So we've come a long ways and we're going a lot further. So we're looking really forward to it. And congratulations, Mr. Starr. We're looking for great things from you. Next up, Ray Hatch, Vegetarian Support Group of Taft, in Taft. Of Taft or in Taft?
I don't know. Ray Hatch, 209 East Warren Street, Taft. Mayor and city council members, I wanted to take this opportunity to share a new adventure that Lodima and I are getting ready to start on and share it with the community through the camera here. About 3 years ago, Lodima and I decided to become vegetarian. I think a lot of people in town know that. I know all the restaurants do, because when there's an event and we're there, we arrange things ahead of time so that it'll meet our diet. In that 3 years, we pretty well stayed the course, and believe it or not, in that length of time, I have lost between 40 and 50 pounds in just a diet change. So in my case, in our case, it has worked well. Along the way, we have learned a lot, we think, and several months ago, we decided that we would start on this venture and we needed to get ready for that. We've been doing that. In fact, I just completed in January a nutrition class offered online by Cornell University. Pretty intense class. I really enjoyed it, and I think that's going to help us be more effective in what we're trying to do. Now, in this 3 years, we had help. We had each other, which was a huge advantage that a lot of folks that head down this path don't have. But we also had help from other people online that have done the same thing and are doing the same thing, and a number of doctors that work with folks that want to eat this way. So what we've decided to do is set up a vegetarian support group for the community. Our idea here is that we'll have meetings frequently, monthly or more often, if there's enough people that would like that. Simply talk about and offer support for folks that are heading down this path. One of the things that we've learned, and I think everybody learns when they start down a path like this, is that though you might aim up here, that you want to do the best you can possibly do, reality is, if you can do some of it, you're doing pretty good. And even that requires some help and support. So we've set up our first meeting. It's going to be March 17th, 6 o'clock, at the Westside Healthcare District offices. And this is really our first public outreach about that. We'll be having more information coming out. We have set up a Facebook page. It's called, of all things, Taft Vegetarian Support Group.
That's catchy. Yeah.
It's easy to remember once you know what you want to search for. So this is an open meeting. Everybody's invited. I know we've unfortunately picked a night that you guys have another obligation. I think you're going to be right here in 2 weeks. But maybe in the future it won't be on a Tuesday night, and you can make it also. We invite people to our meetings who are interested in eating this way or simply interested in finding out more about it. This is not going to be limited to anyone. If anybody wants to come and sit and listen, participate, we will welcome that. We will be focusing on what is called a whole food plant-based diet. But that's not all we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what anybody wants to talk about. Because I think what we've learned is, and I think what most of us realize is that we can all eat healthier. And if we do that, we're going to be healthier. And so this is our small way of trying to help people do this. As I mentioned earlier, we know we don't have to be perfect in how we eat. We just simply do the best we can, and we do what we want to do. This is not a, let's make everybody do the same thing. This is, if you have the desire, let's see if we can do it, and if you don't have the desire, hey, that's fine. It's a free world. But what we've learned is there are some choices we can make that are actually pretty easy, and they're a lot easier after you've done it a month or two than maybe the first week or so. But they will help make you healthier, and hopefully maybe let you stick around on this planet a little longer. That's what I wanted to share.
Well, very good, Ray, and thank you so much, and congratulations on the weight loss, and you look great.
Feel great.
It's real great, look great. All right. Former Mayor Ray Hatch, thank you so much. Okay, now we're moving on to item 4, council statements, non-action. Mr. Knorr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, we had an opportunity, we being myself, my son, the city manager, and the chief of police actually 2 Thursdays ago, Thursday the 19th, there was the largest Republican fundraiser of the year for Kern County over the Doubletree Inn, and we were fortunate enough to be a part of that. And at that particular meeting, we spent time with our local elected officials. Representative Shannon Grove was there, and I got towed all over the room with Shannon. Always a good time spending time with her, and she saw to it that Kevin McCarthy came over and we got a visit with him. Gene Fuller was there, David Couch was there, and she brought Governor Rick Perry over to the table, and I have a wonderful picture of Shannon Grove and Governor Perry and the city manager and the chief of police. So had a wonderful evening, and it's really neat to see just how effective our local representatives are when you think about what they've been able to accomplish, with Gene Fuller just becoming the leader and having been chosen by her peers as well, right along with Kevin, all local elected people. And it's kind of a hotbed of quality elected local officials, if you will. We're very fortunate to have that type of influence and that quality of people representing us. So we had a great time and thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to remind the community that next Thursday at 3:30 we have a safety meeting. We'd like to invite all the citizens to have any concerns about Taft. And Ray Hatch, you're on the committee. I hope to see you there. We'll get your invitation. But it's important that you all have stakeholders. If you have concerns about what's happening in Taft, the accident we have out there on the sidewalk with a young lady, there's burglaries going on, there's all different issues going on. This is your opportunity to come and speak out and join us in our meeting. That's all I have there.
Great. Mr. Bryant.
No comment today, sir.
Ms. Hill.
I just want to remind people to observe their surroundings. We've had another break-in on Center Street, and alarm systems are surprisingly not that expensive. I mean, when we got ours, it's like $30, $40 a month, no money out of your pocket to put these up. There's a lot of different companies. I can't recommend enough an alarm. It is a deterrent. Lots of light is a deterrent. Somebody just kicked a door in, walked in, and started taking things. We have got to get more proactive in putting security on our buildings. So I just want to remind people, make some phone calls, get an alarm system. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. On the regards to Mrs. Orrin talking about the meeting tomorrow about the unmet transit needs, I remember when I was the only person that would show up for the County of Kern's unmet transit needs for the area out here. And so I'm not, I try to be representative and try to be positive and support transit. Of course, I didn't use it, but the people that use it should have been there. And if you have a problem with it, then we need to you need to speak up and say something. So it's important for us, if we're going to continue to have our transit system here in the city of Taft, we have to meet the
Fare box ratio.
fare box quota of at least 10%. And if we don't meet that, and we continue not to meet that, then we'll pull our funding and we'll lose our buses and we'll lose jobs. And it'll be a real hit on the community. So when you can, it's good for the environment, it's good for air pollution, it's good for everything if you can use our transit system in the city of Taft. And then if you're heading to Bakersfield, to coordinate and use the system, what do they call that?
Kern Regional Transit?
The what?
Kern Regional or GAT?
Kern Regional Transit, yeah. So it's very inexpensive. I think it's $2 each way, and it's very expensive to make some convenient stops in Bakersfield. So again, if we don't use it, we lose it. So that. In regards to these folks that are out kicking in doors and stealing stuff, they don't steal that stuff for themselves. They steal it to sell it. And they wouldn't steal it if people didn't buy it or give them something in return for it. So, I think the buyers that are getting these good deals on stolen merchandise ought to be hung to the rafters as much as we want to do that to the burglars. So again, be aware of your surroundings. I had a call from a resident in my neighborhood talking about a guy riding around very slowly on a bicycle, had a little wagon pulling this bike, and he was eyeballing cars and eyeballing houses. He had no business in the neighborhood, and so I asked if she call the police, and she called me, but I said, well, did you call the police? Well, call the police. And I believe it wasn't long after I'd gone down cruising the neighborhood and came back by, and I think we might have apprehended that guy and questioned him at least for what is he doing, riding up and down the alleys, and where does he live, and if he's not living in that neighborhood, what's he doing there? You know, just as I walking around up in the neighborhood that I don't live in, I would be, suspicious, and the police should question me for what are my motives of being around those neighborhoods. So we're all in this together, so call it in. It's easy to call it in, 911 or 763-3101, and I'll get you right straight to the Taft Police Department dispatch, and they can make the call for you, and hopefully we can get an officer out and a quick response. So do your part, and the City of Taft will do its part. Next item on the agenda is Planning Commission report. Do we have a Planning Commissioner? Well, you sure do. Introduce yourself, please, and public.
Jerry Livingston, here to represent the Planning Commission for this month. Mayor Miller, members of the council.
You're welcome.
Well, the first thing they did is they swore me in. We got that taken care of. Then we actually had a fairly full schedule. We had 3 CUPs to review. 2 of them went through fairly easily. One of them was the city CUP for doing some upgrade work at the wastewater treatment plant. And another was the addition of a ATM machine at the corner of 9th and Kern Street that Bank of America is looking to put in, finding need to have increased availability for funds there. The third item, or actually the fourth item on the agenda, but the big item of the night, took quite a while, was a discussion of a CUP for a wireless antenna. Verizon had made a proposal to put it on the corner of 8th and Main Street, and that, along with its proposed height at the time of 92 feet, generated quite a bit of discussion. The item was continued for the landowner and the proponent to discuss locating the item somewhere else on the lot that wasn't right at the corner of what we hope will be an improved commercial district over the years, and for a discussion regarding the possible height. 2 heights were offered. One was essentially 92 feet with what they call a monopine, which sort of looks like a pine tree. And the other one would have been about, 74 feet, I think it was, 60 feet at center line and somewhere in the 70s. 88, pardon me? 88, okay. So we asked him to come back and talk to us again next month with discussion. Particularly the height is important. We had some discussion from the members of the community regarding the fact that this is in an area we're trying to improve. You know, it's our downtown business center. It's in the commercial area. I know that at our request, Mark Staples met with the Downtown Business Association to give them an update on that last week. So we're expecting further discussion on that item next month. Thank you for your time.
That's a very tall pine tree right square in the middle of town, so.
Yeah,
It would be noticeable, I think.
Second highest item in town after the Jameson oil well out at the.
Well, thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is department reports. See Chief Whiting coming forward.
Mr. Mayor, City Council persons. First of all, I'd like to thank Dave North for the invitation 2 weeks ago to the Lincoln dinner. That was outstanding. I'd never been to one, and it was a good time, and thank you for that. But tonight I'm here to talk to you about the new police cars. After ordering them, they told us it would take 10 weeks, it really closer to 20 weeks. But they are here. They have been equipped. One of them also now has its graphics. I picked it up today from the graphics designer in Bakersfield, and it is out front for you to come and look at when we're done tonight, and I'll have it out there for you to take a look at. And I just wanted to say thank you for the City Council for that.
What's the model on it?
They are the Ford Utility Police Interceptor. Basically, it's a Ford Explorer that has been modified at the factory. It has better suspension, more durable drivetrain. It is all-wheel drive. And we'll send the 2 sergeants who will be driving those cars to a 2-hour EVOC, which is Emergency Vehicle Operations course, at the Kern County Speedway right over here, put on by the California Highway Patrol. That's because the vehicle has StabiliTrak and it's all-wheel drive, so it performs different if you turn left or right in a high-speed cornering situation, as opposed to a Crown Vic. So they're going to have to be retrained a little bit. Both those vehicles will be actually online on patrol Friday day shift and Friday evening this week.
Great.
And just wanted to say thank you to the council for that.
Well, we got some old cars out there, so we'll be slowly replacing them, so, good.
This thing winds up pretty fast.
All right.
So,
anything else, Chief?
That's all I have.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other department reports? Seeing none, we move on to city manager statements. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to hit again on the transit meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. at Pake's. Kern COG, through a grant, has funded a transit development plan, which is an analysis of our service provided here in the community. So we're seeking input on the new transit development plan, which will evaluate all the services we provide here. And when people say, I don't use transit, so I don't really need to say anything, your tax dollars pay for it, so I think you should have some say on how it's used. So we want to obviously utilize our the money that we get from various sources through grants to provide the best service we can to the community. And even though we are falling short of our fare box ratio, there is a lot of dependence on the Taft Area Transit from people getting to and from work and doctor's appointments and other things. So we definitely don't want to lose it because of lack of service, but we can lose funding if we don't start meeting our 10% ratio of our fare box, which really means that the federal and state government subsidizing 90%. All they're asking for us is to float our own ship 10%. So it's been tough through the years, but
we can't just backfill that out of city coffers. It has to be fare box.
Well, the thing is if you're not meeting your 10%, you lose your funding. So you would have to choose to fund the transit 100% out of the general fund, which no city does.
Yeah,
can't afford to. It's obviously it's a losing venture if you can't even get a 10% return on your dollar. So. Right. We are grateful that we do get the grant funding, and we want to keep it coming to the city of Taft, so that's all I have.
Thank you. Item number 8, city attorney statements.
Mr. Mayor, no statement.
All right. We're moving on to the consent calendar. Items 9 through 18, all items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member, excuse me, of the city council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Okay, here we go. Item number 9, minutes of the February 17th regular meeting. Item 10, payment of bills. Item 11, second reading zoning ordinance amendment 2014, solar energy system design, expedited permit processing and fees. Item 12, funding to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of October 2014 to December 2014. Item 13, award bid to lowest bidder for the purchase of a backhoe in the amount of $114,790 and equipment purchases to go along with that of $13,242. Item 14, pause in the park, fee waiver request. Item 15, donation of road grindings to the Taft Petroleum Club. Item 16, assign classification of correctional lieutenant administrative to the Taft Police Management Group. Item 17, special event permit, Christian service event held by Iglesia de Jesus Cristo Canon, best I can do, on the corner of 6th Street and Main Street at the Rails to Trails stage on March 7th, 2015. And item 18, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing bank card services. Does any member of the council wish to remove any item from the consent calendar?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove item 17, please.
Item 17. Any others? I entertain a motion to approve the consent calendars, item 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 18.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Noor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller?
Yes. That passes on a 5-0 vote. Item number 17, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff received a special event application and letter from Edgar Gill of Iglesia de Canan requesting use of city property at the corner of 6th and Main Street at Rails to Trails stage for an outdoor Christian services event March 7th, 2015. 6th Street from Main to Supply Road will need to be blocked off from 3:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Edgar Gill of Iglesia de Canan will set up the event by 5 p.m. and will break down the event Saturday evening by 10:30 p.m. The event will include 60 chairs to provide seating for congressional members, 2 tables providing refreshments, 4 speakers, and 2 amplifiers to provide sound. Edgar Gill has worked with the Taft Police Department, Public Works, Planning Department, and Kern County Fire Department, who have reviewed the plan and addressed all safety concerns. The applicant is requesting the special event and encroachment permit fees be waived by the City Council, but the applicant will pay for city staff time to set up the road block on 6th Street. Conditions of approval are $1 million liability insurance, name the City of Taft as additional insured, sign an encroachment permit and hold harmless, requirement for trash receptacles, portable chemical toilets, and the removal of barricades at 6th and Main and Supply Row after the event.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. The recommendation for this item is a motion to approve a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving a special event permit authorizing Edgar Gill of Iglesia de Jesuso Cristo Canon to hold a Christian service event on city property on the corner of 6th Street and Main Street at the Rails to Trails stage on March 7th, 2015.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Noor, you asked this item to be pulled.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And looking over the staff report, one thing that struck me, Mr. Mayor, was the fact that the hold harmless agreement, the City of Taft hold harmless agreement, under the organization name that agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the City of Taft, its officers, agents, blah, 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 there is no name. There's nothing. There's no organization. What I did when I saw this, I called the city manager, and the city attorney happened to be in his company, and I asked the question, because after all, hold harmless agreements, indemnification, insurance, and our current mayor also happened to be formerly in the insurance business. He's always quick to identify the need for these things. Well, that all has to do with potential litigation. And if indeed we were unfortunate enough for something to happen during the course of this event, and this being one of the key documents necessary to protect the City of Taft and the people of the City of Taft, this is worthless. Is that not correct, City Attorney?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. So after I saw that, then I started looking at this request as a whole, and a few things struck me. The original request by Mr. Gill, is Mr. Gill in the audience this evening? No? Is a representative of Mr. Gill's in the audience? All right. Perhaps we'll have you come up here after a moment, but anyway, the request from Mr. Gill to the City of Taft was received in handwritten form in a letter, all in Spanish. I believe this to be Spanish. I speak just poquito amount of Spanish. I mean, very little. I don't mind telling you. But I truly believe that this is Spanish. And I cannot read Spanish. And the city council is asked to consider all these things. Then we also received a document which was translated by a staff member. And then we received a second request in the form of a handwritten letter, also in Spanish, and another interpretation of the letter. And I started asking the questions because if Mr. Gill is unable to communicate in English, or perhaps he doesn't prefer, I cannot communicate directly in Spanish. So as an elected representative of the people, what we, the five of us, are tasked with doing is, this is entering into a contract, if you will, by voting, perhaps, to waive the fees that typically are necessary to utilize taxpayer-owned property. And if something were to have happened, or were to happen, and I ended up in a court of law, and they asked me, well, did you understand the request? Did you read and understand the request? Well, no, I cannot read and understand it, but we do have the interpretation of this. And then to take it a step further in the whole liability world, which is it's unfortunate, but thoroughly necessary, and that is, how do we know that Mr. Gill, who has, I understand, obtained the proper insurance, how do we know that he completely understands the liability that he is taking on? This is a question I asked of the attorneys. Is there a document that is standard practice in government, municipal government, since we're dealing with a different language? Now, whether this happens to be in Spanish, let's say it was Swahili, or it was German, or it was French, or any host of other languages, a request is a request. But beyond that, in order to safeguard the welfare of the city and the people of the city, we need to know that the people that we enter into a contract with thoroughly understand what they're signing on for. You know, should something happen to one of the patrons, one of the participants, we have a hold harmless agreement, and then that individual has to honor that liability. So, all a bunch of legal questions, I know, but very necessary legal questions. So that is why I brought this forward. The hold harmless agreement, at this point in time, filled out the way it is worthless. Okay, it's incomplete, and it cannot be utilized and cannot be honored. So I believe that's something that can be taken care of. But those other issues I ask because in order to vote on this in good conscience and to know that the people of the City of Taft are safeguarded and the individual requesting the use fully understands the liability that they're going to undertake, it needs to be clear to me. So that is the reason for my pulling this item and asking for some clarification. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Do you have anything, Mr. Epperson?
I believe that the motion should be that the hold harmless agreement be filled out completely by the applicant, and that if in fact he's more comfortable in the Spanish language, that in order to provide him with the greatest understanding and the city with the greatest protection, that a Spanish language version be provided for him to execute as well.
Is it staff's recommendation that we allow this event?
Yeah, he's met all the criteria. It's just a point of making sure that both sides understand each other. So I think if the amended motion is that the hold harmless agreement be filled out in its entirety in English and Spanish, I think we're covered.
All right, very good. And one of the things I asked Mr. Mayor for point of clarification was if there is a legal requirement for when you get these interpretations for somebody to be certified. I believe somebody mentioned something about you can be certified in the spoken language, but necessarily the written language. However, both of them are necessary. So here again, all in the spirit of, moving this thing forward. That is why I called the city manager and city attorney today, so that this item could move forward. But by the same token, it's got to be completed properly, and it has got to protect the city and the people of the city of Taft. So I would amend my motion if the hold harmless agreement were completed properly, and if we had another document in his chosen language, which would be Spanish, and if it was completed properly so that we are properly safeguarded. That would be my motion.
So then we'll, what's the word I'm looking for? Amend our motion to what Mr. Knorr is requesting in regards to the hold harmless agreement.
Correct, and the city staff be directed to proceed along those lines with the approval of this, given those conditions.
Okay. Who seconded this?
Second.
Mr. Bryant, Ms. Hill, do you have any comment? Mr. Bryant?
Is there a cost to translate? Along with Councilmember Knorr, what he mentioned is having the document translated, is there going to be a cost to the city to have that translated so we know it's verified or validated, whatever you want to use?
Well, speaking with the city attorney, we have a number of forms in the front office that probably should be done in both English and Spanish. There will be a cost to the city to have those vetted by an attorney that is, well, not an attorney, but a certified legal translator to put those forms into what we know it to be in legal form in Spanish, but it's probably a limited amount of one-time dollar fee, or probably around $300.
Well, one of the things I noticed on Mr. Gill's request that his place of residence is on Asher Street, which is not in the city of Taft. So is this, so we're having an outside group not from the actual city of Taft putting on this event?
Mark knows a little bit more about the intimate details since he took care of the request and the application. My involvement was through Public Works, making sure that they had the proper toilets and trash cans.
Mark Staples, Planning Director for the city. We had a project assistance team meeting last Thursday. I think it was it last Thursday? Yeah. And the applicant, Mr. Gill, was there, and we asked him, to really nail down that 60-seat number that you have in the application, because they originally presented to us they might have up to 100, but the church that he is with or represents is from the Los Angeles area, and what he explained to us is that he has, I believe, a radio broadcast of his services, and it reaches out to the Bakersfield area. And in asking what kind of congregation he was looking at, he's looking at about 25 folks from Bakersfield and maybe 15 from Taft, creating the 60 people that also come from LA. So that's his congregation, if you will, of this Iglesia de Jesucristo Canan. So that he has the address in, I guess that would be South Taft on Asher Street. But the church itself is based out of Los Angeles.
Okay. Well, this one thing that's, I see that what this has created is that we have a growing Hispanic community in the city and in the outlying areas also, that we have to face the reality that maybe some of our forums and some of our, we may have to look at staff too, to have folks that can speak, read, and write Spanish, because we're just going to have to deal with that. So, unless there's any other further comment?
No, sir, I have no further comment, unless a representative of Mr. Gills would like to come up after the vote, perhaps brief us on their expectations of this event. But in regard to my motion, no, sir, Mr. Mayor, I'm fine with the amended motion.
So we're voting on the amended motion, okay? And I hope Madam Clerk got all that.
I tried.
Okay. So will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Noor?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller?
And that's a yes. That passes on a 5-0 vote. So, would you like to come up or not? Okay. Well.
Walking to that different language.
We do have a translator here at city staff.
You don't have to, you know. Just gives you a chance to talk about your event. Okay. Okay.
De nada.
All right. Got a little microphone shy there. So, all righty. We've come to the end of our meeting, and we will be entering closed session on the following items. Item A, conference with real property negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54956.8 in regards to 531 Supply Row. Item B, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code 54957.6, all units. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending, and we are now in closed session.